Yep, Motley Crue is in the studio recording new music, and I got the lowdown for you straight from John 5 and their producer Bob Rock, and my tribute to the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner. My thoughts coming up on this episode of Saints World. Hang out. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of Saints World. I'm your host of Saints World, Justin Sane. Hell yes I am. I'm also the guitar player from the band Cruella. If you want more information on that band, check out some links I always put in the description of his videos. It's heavy, it's loud, it's fast, it's badass. It's a little bit of a throwback to the 80s, but with a modern vibe. And yeah, greatly appreciate it. Check it out. Alright, let's get straight to this episode because, I am a severe crew head. In case you don't know, if you don't know, where have you been? Why don't you know this? But yes, I am a severe crew head. However, I do not go into anything, completely blind, and I see things, from every angle. I see the whole picture. So Motley Crue, a few weeks back, they were in the studio recording new music, and I'm going to get into the details a little bit later as far as what these songs are. But so check this out. So John 5 was on Sirius XM radio with host Eddie Trunk, and he talked about what's been going on as far as what's the vibe of this new music, how they recorded, what's the vibe, what's the sound, what's going on. I'm going to say this straight from the jump. Before you guys say Mick Mars is not a part of Motley Crue, I'm not interested. I will tell you this in case you do not know, because it is not like a huge secret, but it's also not widely known either. Mick Mars has not been involved in recording of Motley Crue music for a really long time. I'll give you a couple examples. The song "The Dirt" for the movie, the soundtrack of the movie, basically for the soundtrack. That was Nikki, Tommy, Vince, and John 5. Mick Mars had no input. He did not play on that soundtrack. He did not write. Did not have any writing credit. And I'll give you another example. Remember, 2005, I believe, Motley Crue came out with the greatest hits, Red, White, and Crew. They had, 3 or 4 bonus tracks with that. Sick Love Song, If I Die Tomorrow, Liar, and they also did Street Fighting Man from the Stones. Again, Mick Mars had no input on that. He did not play on those. That was actually DJ Ashba. So it's been a long time, actually since Saints of Los Angeles, since Mick Mars had any playing. And to be honest with you, Saints of Los Angeles, that may have been DJ Ashba as well. But we'll never know. But like I said, Mick Mars has not been in the writing and recording of Motley Crue music for a really long time, so don't expect this to sound completely different because Mick Mars isn't in the band anymore. Just believe that Nikki is pretty much in full control, and he takes bits and pieces of input from everybody else. But as far as the music, it's pretty much 95% Nikki. So that said, I'm going to give you the excerpt, just a little bit from John 5 live with Eddie Trunk on Sirius XM radio. Check this out. Be right back.
I want to ask you about new music because
Sure.
On social media, Nikki has posted, I think maybe you did as well, photos, videos of you guys being in the studio and you guys working, I think, with Bob Rock again. So what can you tell us about new music since you've been in the band, and how far along are things?
I mean, again, this is like another dream. Like, you're in the studio with Motley Crue, Bob Rock's producing. You're like, wait, what is going on? And I'll try to tell this for the listeners, for people listening, because listen, I love this music and I want to hear and try to imagine myself. So I'll try to explain for people that are listening what it's like. So I walk in, everyone's there. I meet Bob, and he goes, most of the time when I'm in the studio, at least with other things and doing sessions, I'll play in the control room. I'll play to a drum track or a bass track or something like that. I'll play in the control room. Now, I don't think this has ever happened before, but Bob goes, okay, everybody into the live room. And I was like, what's going on in the live room? So it's this big room, and it's where my guitars are set up, Tommy's set up, Nikki's set up, and we played these songs. We just play them like we're in a garage. And Bob would come in, and he was like, okay, let's try this here and that here and this here. Eddie, I'm telling you, it was one of the most incredible experiences ever, because, and that's how, if you watch this, I think it's called A Year and a Half of the Life of Metallica, and they're working out the Black Album, and they're all in that room, and they're just working it out. And I'm thinking, well, we have so much great technology today. We have Pro Tools, and we could blah, blah, blah. But we got in that room, and it was like being in a garage working out a song when you were in high school. It was incredible. It was incredible. And we documented a lot of it too. And Tommy, got his tracks, and Nikki, I'm not just, this is so cool, but Nikki's bass part, everybody was being recorded, and we used Nikki's bass right off the floor. I mean, it was that good, because I know people think I'm just saying this stuff, but we have been playing so much. We have been playing so much, and we used Nikki's tracks from right off the floor. And Bob was like, God damn, Nikki, we just sounded perfect, and so, but the songs are they're fucking heavy, dude. And I'm so excited. And I sound like a little excited kid right now, but they're heavy and they're mean, and I can't wait for them to come out. I'm just so excited.
Well, when you say heavy and mean, when I think of Motley Crue, that's where I think of Shout at the Devil era. That's the record I would kind of classify as being in that zone. So would you say musically it's kind of in line? I mean, I know it's not 40 years, everybody's older, but is that kind of the attitude of it, you think?
There's some riffs that are heavier than anything that's on Shout at the Devil.
Really? Even like Bastard and all that, and Red Hot and all that?
Yeah.
Wow. And what's the plan here? Is it put out some singles? Are you shooting towards making a full album? Like how much did you do?
We don't know. I really don't know the plan yet. We were just like, I mean, this band works a lot. Nobody's like home just like, we're like, okay, we're going to go in the studio here and here. I don't really know what the plan is, but I know that we have some fucking killer tracks, and I don't know what their plan is. So I try to be a
John,
fly
is
on
it
the wall
done?
with my.
Is it all done? Like, are there songs completed? Like, totally done?
I don't know if they're completely done, but I would say they're like probably 98% done.
So conceivably, and we've seen a lot of artists do this, and you can do that in today's music world. Conceivably, we could wake up tomorrow and there could be a new Motley Crue song. I mean, today Duff McKagan put 3 songs out of nowhere. So everybody does that from time to time. So I'm not saying you're going to do this, but conceivably that could happen with how much you've done, right?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, there's still things that have to be done. It has to be mixed. It has to be mastered. It has to be, talked about. But, I don't know what the plan is. All I can tell you is that it's heavy and it's aggressive, and I think people are going to dig it, because me talking as a fan, it's fucking badass.
How many songs have you guys written together?
We have
roughly.
There's not that many. We have a a handful. So I don't want to say too much, but it's not. We have like a handful.
Alrighty, everybody, we are back. So what did everybody think? My first reaction when John 5 said heavy. First of all, something comes to mind. This is something that goes back to like when I was in high school. This is late '80s, early '90s when a lot of the hair bands, which by the way, that was not even a term back then. That's just something that came out within the last 20 years. They just needed the labels. So, anyways. When bands were recording like second albums and third albums, bands like, well, I'm not going to mention any names. It was very, very common that bands would come out and like, oh yeah, we're recording new music, and this new music is heavier. That was so common. You never. I laugh at this because it's almost like a Spinal Tap thing. It's so cliche. Bands never said, "Oh yeah, we've written written songs for the new album. It's going to be out in a couple months. It's lighter." No band ever said that. So when bands come out, even to this day, bands are saying it's oh yeah, the new material's heavier than the last album. Bands always say that. So when I think of Motley Crue heavy, I think of the album they did with John Corabi. I don't really think of Motley as like a metal band, like they were heavy. I mean, if they were maybe like Shout the Devil, sonically, Dr. Feelgood, just because that was the first time working with Bob Rock, and like everything was just like louder. Tom Werman did an okay job with Motley, as far as Shout, Girls, Theater of Pain, but sonically they weren't great. Bob Rock completely changed how Motley recorded. The sonics were just a lot bigger. To me, that was kind of a heavy Motley Crue, but as far as in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't like heavy. But I'm very, very interested to hear this new music. I know. Again, Mick isn't a part of it. Again, Mick hasn't been a part of this writing process, recording process in Motley for a very long time. Please understand that. Know that going in. But yeah, I'm very interested, and I'm extremely stoked. So Bob Rock did come out and give us a little more detail. They recorded 3 new songs, and we don't have any song titles yet. But yeah, they did document this process, which to me is a kind of a gearhead. I'm very interested to see how they recorded and just the creative process. I'm always very, and not just with Motley, but like all the bands. I'm very interested in that creative process and see how the songs came about and how they recorded and all sorts of little things. So I'm very curious. So that should be pretty badass too. But yeah, Bob Rock says 3 songs. Not sure how they're going to release them. If they're going to release them together or separate, like pretty much how every other band in the music business now does it. They record just singles, except for like Metallica, but whatever. But anyways, very interested to comment below and let me know what you guys think. Should be pretty badass. All right, so we're gonna take a step down. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the legend Tina Turner passing away. We were not completely blindsided. She had some health issues recently, but I'm going to give you my thoughts, and I'm going to read something to you. So, hang out. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, we got the news recently that the Queen of Rock and Roll, Tina Turner, has passed away. I'm going to read. This is what I basically posted on my private Instagram as well as the band's Instagram. Posted this after kind of letting it sink in a little bit. I love writing, and not just songs, not just lyrics, but I actually love writing. And my mentor, Lon Friend, wrote for Rip, and of course everybody knows him from Headbangers Ball back in the 90s. But he is my writing mentor, and I always try to be as good as he is. I fall short. but I try. So I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to add a little bit to this. So this is Cruella DeVille, Cruella.deville.music. News hit us all like a slug to the chest today. The undisputed queen of rock and roll has left us peacefully after health issues took her away from the stages. Her voice, music, and stage prowess all inspired us for over a half century. But what inspired me personally was her inner strength. Coming from an abusive relationship with Ike, it takes every ounce of courage to escape, leave, and find your own voice. Domestic violence destroyed my family in the late 50s and into the 60s, and I'd be lying if the shock waves from that weren't felt for generations to follow. It's never easy to leave a combative, codependent relationship, no matter how bad it gets. So for her to find the courage, her voice, her music, a career on her own terms, is a testament to her strength. Rest in peace, Queen. You will never be forgotten. You're now making new music with legends that inspired you and musicians that you inspired. You're simply one of the best. And I put music note, microphone, broken heart, JS. I want to add this. In abusive relationships, some people don't make it out. My grandmother, June, she was a victim. I'll get into details in a later episode, but her husband was an alcoholic, codependent, had major issues, and ended up shooting her. Another relative, one of June's best friends, before turning the gun on himself. And believe me, this has followed the family for generations. Tina Turner is very, very lucky that she got out and she was able to have the career that she had. She was very, very lucky. Domestic violence is something that should never, ever be tolerated. But this is about Tina Turner. We're gonna miss you, your voice, your talent, the music. It's iconic, and slowly, our heroes are leaving us. It's up to the next generation to pick up where these legends left off. Unfortunately, we just haven't had the great music, iconic music in the last 20-25 years that we had back in the 80s and 90s. It's just a different time. But Tina, we're going to miss you. We love you so much. Rest in peace. It's very, very sad. Alright everybody, that's all I have for today. If you like what you see, like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for sure. Hit that notification bell, that way you're notified anytime I upload any new videos for you guys, the hard rock and heavy metal fans of the world. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you that even watches an episode. You may not like it, you may not comment, you may not subscribe, but believe me, I appreciate every single one of you. I honestly do. Hit me up on Instagram. The band is on there. It's Cruella.deville.music. We got some kick-ass music. We got some great news on the website. Some pretty cool pictures. I'm on there as well. It's justinsane.music. Be sure to hit up the band's website. It's CruellaDeVille.com. We got some awesome news up there. We got some pretty badass merch that I'd be greatly appreciated if you check it out. And one item in particular is pretty unique. It's pretty badass. Alright, until next time, love you guys. You guys stay metal, stay rad, keep it heavy, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Love you guys. See you guys soon.